Okay, so I wanted to come on here and show you what I'm making for lunch today. Apparently, if you have less than 10,000 followers on Instagram, you only get 10 minutes to do this, so it's going to be really, really quick. Okay, cool. Here's what I'm using. Okay, so this is what I am using. We have 500 grams of grass-fed stripped beef stir fry, 1 green, that's red, 1 red capsicum, 1 zucchini, 1 carrot, 2 cloves of garlic, 1 red onion cut in half, a packet of the Old El Paso fajita mix, and some garlic mission wraps. I'm gonna put some aioli in there and some cheese on the flatbreads when we grill them. And I'm gonna chop all this up now. Okay, so I've chopped everything up in like little matchsticks as much as I can. Don't judge my knife skills because I am not a chef. And then now we are going to fry all this up with some olive oil and half of the fajita mix, which is gonna look like this. We're gonna fry the onions off first. Now the onions don't need to be fully cooked because you still have to put the other vegetables in, so they're going to keep cooking anyway, but once they start to get like a little bit clear and translucent, we're going to put the garlic in. We don't want to put it in first or it burns. So we put the garlic in and we zhuzh it around. Again, we don't want to burn the garlic, so you don't want your pan to be too hot, but warm enough so that it still keeps stir frying. So we'll just let that garlic get some colour, and we go for the carrots first. So I always do it in the order of things that will take the longest to cook. So obviously onions you want to do first because they're quite raw and you want to cook out that raw onion taste. And then the carrots, obviously carrots take a lot longer to cook, so we're going to put the carrots in next. Just like this. So we're going to give the carrots a couple of minutes. It's also not a bad idea to sit a lid over this and let the steam sort of soften the carrots down a bit as well. Turn this up a touch more. Okay, so you can see that those onions are looking nice and caramelized, and the carrots have sweat a little bit, so they're definitely getting softer. So now we're going to put in the zucchini. Now zucchini obviously holds a lot more water, so again we don't want it to get too low that they start sweating too much. So we're just gonna jig this around. Put the lid back on. And we're gonna let that sit for another few minutes. Okay, so it's getting nice and caramelized and the zucchini's definitely come down, so I'm gonna put the capsicum in at the last. We're basically going to do the same thing, and once the capsicum softens up a little bit, I'm going to put the fajita mix in with a touch more oil, because as you can see it's all kind of soaked in now. The capsicum doesn't take too long, and it will grill down again once the quesadillas go in the oven. I don't even know how you say that word. Just add like a couple of tablespoons of water in. That kind of gets all that caramelizing off the bottom, and is a good little last minute steamer for the vegetables. So I smush it around. Put the lid back on. Okay, so you can see that the capsicum's changed colour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put about half of this in. Maybe just a little bit more than half. Still a touch of liquid in the bottom, so that's going to help it to just coat all of the veggies. Oh my gosh, this smells so good. Lid back on that, let it sit for another 5 or so minutes. Let those get a little bit softer. Make sure there's no chunks of the mix in there, which there is not, which is great. Alright, so that's about it. Some of those veggies are getting nice and charred, and the capsicum's soft and kind of stir fried but not ridiculously soft. So we're going to take all of this out. need to add some more oil to the pan. Then we're going to put the beef in. So I'm lazy, and for stuff like this I buy the already stripped up beef. I'm going to drop that in. Smush it around, break it up. Now what I would normally do if I decide a day before that I'm going to make this is I actually put the beef in a bowl with like a tablespoon of oil and a packet of the fajita mix, and I kind of marinate it in there, sit it in the fridge. But in this instance we are just going to do it this way because I just decided today that this is what I wanted to do. So you can see that the oil in there has heated up, and now all that yummy charred fajita mix that was already in there that's stuck to the bottom is kind of coating that. So we're going to let it cook a little bit more before we add the rest of the seasoning. We're going to stir it all around. So you can see that that liquid has been sucked back up by that powder, and it's coated all of the steak strips. You can see there, it looks delicious and it smells so good as well. We're just going to let that fry off again for another 5 minutes, and then we're going to put our quesadillas together. Alright, so while that's finishing cooking, I'm going to get my grilling tray ready. Now, if you don't have a flat baking tray, that's fine. You can literally just use like a wire rack over a slightly deeper pan, doesn't really matter. Piece of baking paper over it just to catch any of the little like yummy juicy bits that are going to fall out. And you need 2 wraps. The easiest thing to do is to basically you're going to want to fold them over in half. So if you just do this to make sure that they're going to fit, open it up, and then that's the spot where you're going to put your shredded cheese. We go a little layer across the bottom. Obviously you don't have to use cheese, you can use vegan cheese, you can use whatever the heck you like. We'll do that. Aioli, any type of aioli you want. I literally just put a couple of blobs here and there. Then we're going to get our veggies and our steak, and we're going to layer some on. Then we're going to fold them over and put them in the grill. So these have had about 10 or so minutes in the oven, so they've got some nice little brown spots on them. And I know that that looks like the meat and stuff is burnt, but it's really not. I'll show you a proper photo once these are served. I'm going to slide them onto the board. Magic. Make sure the oven is off so you don't burn your pans. Get rid of this guy. Le knife. The end bits are always the best bit because they kind of fold completely over. So you can just cut these in half, but the coolest thing is eating the end bits with your hands and then using a fork and a knife and eating the middle bits and dipping them in a little bit more extra aioli. So just how I serve it up, and then put the little bits back on top because they belong with that quesadilla. And that is basically, it. So I'm going to chop this one and serve it, and then I'm going to insert a photo here so you can see what the final product look like, that they are not burnt. And that is literally my 30-minute chicken or steak fajita flavored quesadilla for lunch.